Our story opens in 1989. A young girl named Christy comes home. She has just won her first boxing match. It should have been a proud moment, but the house feels cold. Her mother ignores her completely. Only her brother seems happy. At dinner, no one speaks. The silence is heavy. Christy finally asks, "Why is everyone so quiet?" Her mother looks at her and says, "Pam Doolin called today." She pauses, then continues, "She said horrible things about you and about that girl, Rosie." Christy is confused and replies, "Rosie is my teammate. She is my best friend." But her mother shakes her head and says, "Pam is taking Rosie to a priest to get her straightened out." She adds, "And we should probably do the same with you." Christy feels her chest tighten as her mother continues, "If Rosie keeps this up, her parents will stop helping her pay rent." People are talking. Whispers are spreading. But Christy does not listen. She goes straight to Rosie anyway. Rosie looks worried and tells her, "I have to see the priest." She lowers her voice and adds, "If I do not, my mom is cutting off my allowance." Later that day, on the basketball court, a girl suddenly shouts, "Lesbian." Something inside Christy snaps. She attacks the girl. Punches fly. Chaos erupts. The coach pulls her away and yells, "You cannot stay on this team if you act like this." Christy tries to defend herself and says, "She started it." The coach asks, "What did she say?" Christy freezes. She cannot bring herself to repeat the word. That night, the phone rings. A man speaks on the other end. "My name is Larry. I am a boxing promoter from Bristol." He continues, "I saw you fight. How would you feel about turning professional?" Christy laughs nervously and replies, "I am a basketball player, not a boxer." She adds, "I only fought for fun." Then Larry says there is a $500 prize. Everything changes. Christy shows up at the tournament. For the first time, she faces a professional boxer. Christy wins with pure power. No technique, just force. After the fight, they hand her the money, $500. Larry smiles and says, "I loved what I saw tonight." He continues, "I have a trainer who wants to meet you." He leans closer and adds, "Come to my gym next week. Train with him. If you like it, I will promote you." Then he gives one condition, bring a family member. Christy understands what he means. Not Rosie. She arrives with her mother. They meet the trainer. His name is Jim. He speaks coldly, disrespectfully. Christy turns to leave, but her mother stops her and says, "They are offering you a place to live." She continues, "Rent-free, a job, a trainer." Then she looks her in the eyes and says, "And you want to quit because a man said a few mean things." She finishes, "I thought you were tough." Christy stays. Training begins. Jim points to a male boxer and orders, "Bust her up." The punch lands, straight into Christy's ribs. She does not fall. She punches back. One shot. The man drops. Silence fills the gym. Jim stares, impressed. From that moment, everything changes. They give Christy a caravan, a place to live. She trains every day, harder than everyone else. Alone, with only her dog. One afternoon, she is eating a burger at a cafe. Jim walks in. She asks, "Can I get some pie?" Jim shuts it down instantly and says, "I do not need a fat fighter." Then he pauses and adds, "You work harder than most of the men I train." He nods slowly and says, "Maybe I am going to make you the best female fighter in the world." That night, Christy returns home. Something is waiting for her. A gift from Jim. It's pink clothing. She puts it on and gets ready for the fight. Jim says, "You look cute." They head to a boxing ring set up in an open field. Christy fights. The fight goes from evening all the way into the night. Christy knocks out her opponent and wins. That night, she calls Rosie and tells her everything about the fight, saying, "I found my thing." But Rosie tells her, "I can't do this long distance anymore. And I met a guy." Hearing this, Christy hangs up the phone. She puts all her focus into training and fighting. Along with training with Jim, she's also learning by watching videos of male boxers. Then one day, after winning a fight, Christy kisses Jim in her excitement. A few days later, while playing pool, Jim tells her, "You play too aggressively. But boxing is like chess. You have to play moves." Jim also tells her to grow her hair long. "You'll look prettier with long hair." It's revealed that Jim talked to Christy's mom, and he knows about her and Rosie. He asks her, "Why don't you have a boyfriend?" The next morning, Christy wakes up in Jim's bed. That evening, Jim calls her over again. But Christy isn't happy about any of this. With a heavy heart, she calls her dad. She doesn't tell him what's going on, just says, "I want to come home." Christy goes to see her father. But Jim shows up at their house too. Christy says, "I said I tried out for 6 months, and I did that. But I'm not able to make a living out of it. Larry can't find women to fight me. But Jim tells her, Lenny Del Percio in Florida wants to promote you. He can get us fights, and when the time is right, I'll make the call to Dome King. Hearing this, Christy goes with Jim to Daytona, where an apartment is arranged for them. Christy starts training there. She starts fighting in matches. She's knocking out her opponents one after another. Everything's going great when one evening, she gets a call from Rosie. She wants to meet Christy. Jim overhears this conversation. When Rosie and Christy meet up, Rosie asks her about Jim. Christy tells her, my mom loves him. On the other hand, Rosie's relationship didn't work out, but then Jim shows up, saying, I need to talk to you. He asks what Rosie's doing there. Jim had already called Christy's dad and told him he's afraid Christy might be gay. Because of this, she could lose her family. She could lose her trainer, who can call Dome King when she's ready. Jim tells her, look, she's your past, but your future is with me. Jim proposes marriage to Christy right there. Christy tells him, okay, but just get up. Christy asks Jim, what if I did a couple of shifts a week down at the drugstore? But Jim refuses. You need to box, not work. They're struggling with money because Jim doesn't have a job besides training Christy. Nothing to pay the bills with. Jim gets angry hearing this. He says, I told you what you could do to make some more money, but you don't want to do it because you're too good for it. So, why don't you stop nagging me about the bills? A short while later, Jim and Christy arrive at a motel. There's an older man waiting there. Jim takes money from him while Christy boxes with him. But this isn't regular boxing. The old man is touching Christy under the guise of training, and Jim just stands there, watching it happen. After Christy wins a match, a man named Jesse Robinson comes to meet her. We need to get her out of here, he says. She needs to meet Don. They head out to meet Dome King. Jim meets Don first, but Don flat out refuses to recognize him. He turns to Christy. Why are you fighting, Christy? He asks. Christy answers, I'm good at it, sir. Maybe you can help me make a living from it. Don's excited by her confidence. She hands him a tape, but it won't play. Don says, keep it, I'll watch it. So Christy starts showing him her skills live right there. Don is thrilled. A coal miner's daughter who fights in pink trunks, I love it. He's ready to sign Christy. 5 6-round fights, he tells her. $5,000 per fight. Don introduces Christy as the coal miner's daughter, since her father works in the mines. Christy thanks him. It's an honor to be fighting on a Mike Tyson undercard. She adds, I don't expect people to watch because I'm a woman or anything. I expect them to watch because I'm the best and I can fight. On fight day, Christy is incredibly nervous. Dome King comes over. Make this a good fight and don't let me down, he says, making her even more anxious. When her mom tries to say something, Christy gets up and goes to the washroom. She's scared about what's coming next. She can't stop her hand from shaking. Jim reassures her, you're ready. You're prepared. Just treat it like any other fight. During the fight, Christy has the upper hand on her opponent. She lands a punch that makes the crowd cheer, but the fight isn't over. Her opponent punches back, and Christy's nose starts bleeding. The fight goes the full 6 rounds. Christy's clothes are soaked in blood. No one gets knocked out in 6 rounds. After 6 rounds, by unanimous decision, the coal miner's daughter Christy is announced as the winner. Everyone cheers. After this, Christy has a house in Florida. Her interviews are on TV. Christy's bloody nose turned out to be very lucrative. She becomes the first woman boxer to appear on the cover of Illustrated. Christy presents herself not as a feminist, but as a regular wife who cooks, cleans, and happens to knock people out for a living. Christy is getting more popular with every fight. She and Jim open their own boxing gym together. Before her fight with Lisa Hoey, she tells her, you're looking nice, but when I'm done with you, you're gonna be so ugly that not even your girlfriend's gonna recognize you. In the fight, Christy wins again. She takes this victory too. Afterward, in an interview, she says, I'm not getting paid enough. One morning, while jogging, she starts talking to a neighbor. Jim is watching from the window. He gets angry even over this. They're about to spar and Christy says, that was our neighbor. I was just being polite. While sparring, Christy asks if he's talked to Don. Jim says, I'll handle it. It's revealed that her earlier comment about not being paid enough was because Jim told her to. His contract with Dome King still hasn't been renewed. Christy tells him, you need to call his office. Jim punches her and knocks her down. Another training partner rushes over to help her up. Christy has a meeting with Dome King. He gives her a fight, but warns her, I like you, Christy, but if I ever hear you talking smack about me to the press again, there ain't gonna be no more fights. He adds, you think you make the world turn, but one day you're gonna wake up and realize it turns just fine without you. And that's exactly what happens. In 2003, Christy's fight is set up with Layla Ali, being called the new face of boxing. Christy tells Jim, maybe we could bring in a co-trainer to help me with this fight. Take me to the next level. Jim doesn't like it. You want me to call off the fight? You're not at the next level. Christy replies, we were all talking about it. Jim asks, who's we all? In anger, he starts beating Christy. The next day, Christy releases her frustration during sparring. Jim tells her, you need to spar with someone better. He arranges for Lisa Holwine to spar with her. Christy's buddy Big Jeff pulls her aside. He can see the bruises. Are you okay? He asks. Yes, Christy says. He tells her, Christy, if you ever need anything, I'm here. Christy nods. Yes, I know, and gets up to leave. After that, Lisa Holwine comes to spar with her because she needs the money. They train together. But one day, Lisa tells Jim, I'm worried about this fight. I'm bigger than Christy, and Layla is too big for me. Jim responds, Christy can beat her if she keeps her head right and her attitude. Now is probably the time for you to leave. He kicks Lisa out. Before the weigh-in, they stuff extra weight into Christy's clothes so she can match Layla's weight category. In reality, Christy is much lighter than her opponent. She starts feeling nervous. I should be fighting Lucia Richker, she says. Jim reassures her, you're at your big time. The fight between Layla and Christy begins. Christy takes a hard punch and starts feeling dizzy. I'm feeling dizzy, she tells Jim. But he doesn't listen. Because of the dizziness, Christy feels like she's on a slant. Christy can't fight back. She can't regain her balance. Layla completely overwhelms her, hitting her again and again. Jim refuses to stop the fight. Nobody wants to watch anymore. Layla wins. Christy is left in tears. The story jumps to 2010. During training, Christy says, I'm not feeling great. Jim tells her he's arranging a fight with Lucia Richker. He says the details aren't ready yet. Just stay prepared. Sometime later, Christy asks about the fight again. Instead of answering, Jim starts checking her phone. He says, every time I grab your phone, your hairstylist is calling. And you just got a haircut. Christy responds, I got a haircut 2 months ago. It grew back. Maybe you'd understand if you had any hair to cut. That's when Jim snaps. He grabs Christy by the throat. On Christy's birthday, her parents come over. Christy pulls her mom aside to talk privately. She tells her, Jim knows everything I do in this house. I think he has hidden cameras everywhere. He's angry all the time. He's making videotapes of us, and I don't want to be here. She adds, I have a fight with Lucia Richker coming up. I'll use that money to get out. She begs her mom for help, but her mom doesn't believe her. She says, you sound crazy. Jim told me you've been messing with drugs. She tells Christy to get herself together. Christy breaks down crying. Her life keeps getting worse. Big Jeff approaches her again. He says, you're like family to me, and I'm worried about you. He tells her Jim has been skimming money from her fights. He thinks Jim is sending it to his ex-wife or his kids. Big Jeff also knows about the videotapes. The boys at the gym have been talking. Christy says, I have to keep the Richker purse away from him. But Big Jeff tells her the truth. That fight isn't happening. Jim has been lying the whole time. Furious, Christy confronts Jim at the gym. Jim grabs her and throws her to the ground. Christy shouts, I'm leaving you. Jim responds coldly, there is no Christy Martin without me. When Christy goes home to pack, Jim tells her to unpack. She leaves anyway. She calls Rosie and asks to meet. Christy tells her, I'm leaving Jim. I haven't told anyone because I don't have anyone. Suddenly, Jim starts calling. Christy answers. Jim knows exactly where she is. He can see her with Rosie. They rush to a hotel, but Christy can't sleep. She steps outside and watches the sun rise. When she comes back in, her phone is flooded with messages. Big Jeff tells her Jim sent photos everywhere. He's telling people Christy is leaving him for a woman. Rosie says, come with me. I'll call my friend Sharon. She's a lawyer. But Christy refuses. She says, I'm going back home. I'm not running or hiding. That's my house, my things, and my gym. I won't let him push me out. Christy sits on Rosie's lap. For reasons she doesn't understand, Rosie makes Christy memorize her phone number. Christy goes back home. When she sees Jim, she says, my head hurts. I'll talk after I take a nap. Later that night, the sound of the TV wakes her. She calls Rosie immediately and tells her everything. Then Jim walks into the room. Christy sees the look in his eyes. She hangs up the phone. Jim attacks her with a knife. Jim stabs her again and again. Christy screams in agony. Jim rips the battery out of her phone. Then he destroys everything else. He even smashes the landline phone. Christy is writhing on the floor, bleeding. Jim calmly sits down. Shaving cream covers his face. He opens a drawer, pulls out a gun, and shoots her. By some miracle, Christy survives. She forces herself to stand. Jim is in the shower. He doesn't notice anything. Christy grabs the car keys and stumbles outside. She realizes too late she took Jim's keys. His car blocks hers. Barely standing, Christy reaches the middle of the road. A stranger stops. They rush her to the hospital. At the hospital, Christy remembers one thing: Rosie's phone number. She gives it to the nurse. Rosie arrives shortly after. Then Christy's family shows up. Her mother is furious when she sees Rosie. She pulls Rosie outside and says, "You need to leave." Christy doesn't know what she wants. "You're the reason all this happened." When Christy wakes up, her first question is about Rosie. Jim has already been arrested. Otherwise, Christy's father would have killed him himself. Her mother says, "Everyone thinks you're leaving Jim for a woman. You need to say you were with a different Rosie. Just a friend." Christy looks at her and says, "You might as well have pulled the trigger yourself. I tried so hard to be the daughter you wanted. Look where I am now, Mama." Christy spends weeks recovering in the hospital. Doctors tell her she must use a walker. She forces herself to walk anyway. One day, Lisa comes to visit her. Lisa asks, "So who is Rosie?" They both laugh. Christy knows what's coming. She spent half her career trash-talking other women. Now people will tear her apart. She says, "They're going to laugh at me." Lisa replies, "Maybe they won't. You're just expecting the worst." Christy says quietly, "I want to fight again. I want the ring back. In there, I'm calm. Everywhere else is chaos. I want it without him." Lisa wishes her luck. In that moment, something changes between them. Later, Christy returns to her gym. One by one, people apologize. They say they should have stood up for her. Everyone hugs. Christy insists she needs to fight again, as soon as possible. Training is painful, but she refuses to stop. She testifies in court against Jim. She looks him in the eye and says, "Look at me. You stabbed me. You shot me. You left me to die. And you still failed." Jim Martin is sentenced to 25 years in prison. No parole. Convicted of second-degree attempted murder. Christy Martin becomes a boxing promoter and an advocate for victims of domestic violence. In 2017, she marries Lisa Holwine. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe to Cinevoice. Hit the bell icon to stay updated and enjoy the journey.